Hi everyone! As the year comes to a close, I realize I've read more manga than ever before, with exciting new series popping up, ongoing favourites continuing strong, and even older titles making a comeback. It's been such a rewarding year of reading. To wrap things up, I thought I'd share some manga recommendations, series that really stood out to me this year. They didn't all necessarily start in 2025, but they're the ones I've truly enjoyed diving into. So let's jump straight into it. But before we jump into the video, guys, I just want to quickly say that I've now officially launched a Twitter account and an Instagram account as well for the Manga Bean. So if you'd like to follow me on those socials, keep up with what I'm sort of doing and reading. Probably won't post too often, but if you'd still like to be in touch, they'll have those socials linked down below. And I've still got the subscriber special down in the comments below where you get to recommend the first volume of a manga that I may end up picking. The date closes on the 14th of December, so get your nominations in and I'll do it in an upcoming video. Back to the video. This is a new series I've gotten into recently. Galaxias is a fantasy action shonen series created by Ao Hatsusaka. It originally started as a one-shot and won the 108th Manga Rookie Awards and has since become a full series published by Kodansha. Galaxias takes place in a fantasy world filled with dragon folk, people with dragon tails who are viewed as knights or highly respected figures. The story follows a girl named Gio, who dreams of adventure and longs to leave her island and explore the world, inspired by one of the greatest explorers alive, Yuri Holst. Her life changes when she encounters an amnesiac young man with no memory of his past, whom she names Nered. After helping Nered recover and helping him to prepare to leave the island, Gio is confronted by a government dragonfolk who is sent to kill her. It's revealed that she is the daughter of Yuri, the very explorer who assassinated the king 10 years ago. During the fight, we discover that Nered is also a dragonfolk and incredibly powerful. Together, they defeat the government agent, and Nered confirms that he's also searching for Yuri. With that, the two set off on a worldwide adventure to find Gio's father and help Nered recover his memories. This is a classic shonen adventure through and through. The art style, the characters, the power fantasy, everything about it is just so fun to read. I was instantly hooked by the premise, and I love a good amnesiac story where two characters share a similar goal. It really reminded me of those late 90s cartoons where you tune in each week only to find the hero still on that same grand quest. Gio and Nered are both fantastic lead characters, full of energy and life, and I especially love how capable Gio is. The action scenes are incredibly well drawn with a great sense of impact. It's honestly wild to think that this is their first work. Although the series is published pretty irregularly, I'm really eager to keep reading this one. The first volume is due to come out in early 2026, around February or March. There are only 3 volumes out in Japanese in total, so this will be a slow collection, but the world, the characters, the action, it's everything I want out of a classic shonen. Following my trend of loving fantasy and witch-themed stories, we have the hot off the press series Ichi the Witch, published by Shonen Jump and co-created by Osamu Nishi with illustrations by Shiro Ozaki, whom some may recognize her from her previous work on Act Age, which we don't talk about anymore. Ichi the Witch takes place in a magical world where monsters called magics exist, and only females can become witches. Witches obtain their magics by completing specific trials that can range from anywhere of intense combat challenges to hilariously dress-up challenges. But never in the history of this world has there been a male witch, until our main character, Ichi. Growing up in the mountains and surviving purely on instinct, he somehow manages to acquire one of the strongest magics, becoming the first male witch. Now joining the Witch Association with fellow teammates, Ichi must navigate the wider world, face extremely powerful magics, and confront an impending prophecy all tied to the ominous World Hater magic. When Ichi the Witch launched last year, I was immediately hooked by the world. As you can probably tell, witches and magic are some of my favourite genres, which can be very obvious when I get into a series later on in the list. Ichi makes such a strong impression right from the start. His hunter mindset, survival instincts, and raw practicality completely shake up the world's long-established formula. The way he approaches every encounter is so outside the box, and it's genuinely exciting to read. Ichi also serves as the perfect fish-out-of-water protagonist. Since he wants to learn about the world, the reader learns alongside with him, making the world building feel natural and well-paced. Alongside Ichi is Descaris, who has quickly become one of my favourite characters. She's renowned as one of the most powerful witches in the association, and she absolutely looks the part. From how incredibly sharp her character design is and her permanently unimpressed expression, to the towering confidence she carries into every battle. She never shows weakness to her enemies, and she's funny, charismatic, but also deeply protective of Ichi and his safety. As the cast continues to grow, every new addition feels perfectly placed, and each person slowly helps Ichi understand the world and slowly open up to it. Ichi the Witch has quickly risen to become Shonen Jump's top series right alongside the next title I'm about to talk about, with both series even sharing a cover recently. The first volume is due to come out in early 2026. If you haven't started this one, I highly recommend it. What started off as a meme before the first chapter even dropped, with anime adaptations being joked about and goated moments already predicted, no one actually expected Kagurabachi by Hokusano to be good. But holy hell, it turned out to be amazing. Set in Japan, Kagurabachi follows Chihiro, the son of a renowned blacksmith who forged the 6 enchanted blades, rare swords with the ability to draw on the user's spirit energy to create devastating abilities such as lightning or hallucinations. Unfortunately, a secret organization seeking those blades hunts down and murders Chihiro's father, stealing the swords and leaving Chihiro scarred and broken. However, before his death, his father secretly forged a 7th blade, the N10, made specifically for Chihiro. With a newfound resolve and a burning desire for revenge, Chihiro sets out with the intent to hunt down those who killed his father and reclaim the 6 enchanted blades. Kagurabachi arrived at the perfect moment. With My Hero Academia's final chapter wrapping up, Shonen Jump really needed the next big hit, and Kagurabachi delivered instantly. From the very first chapter, the series is a bloody, intense action story that hooks you with a revenge plot you can't help but love. For me, I need more than just revenge to keep me invested, and thankfully Chihiro and the wider cast are phenomenal. Usually in revenge-driven stories, you get the quiet, brooding protagonist, but Chihiro is surprisingly different. While he is reserved, he's extremely level-headed, tackling every encounter with calm calculation. He's not stone cold either. He cracks unintentional jokes, shows genuine care for others, and understands people's struggles, often reaching out with empathy. As the series progresses, we're introduced to an incredible set of characters that honestly remind me a lot of Bleach. The Kamanabe members, all with amazing designs and huge personalities. I absolutely love their black suit attire, which makes them all the more menacing. And yes, we've also got our own version of the Akatsuki, with the Hishaku, a shadowy group pulling the strings, but also actively being involved very early on, which was really nice to see. As I've been talking, you've been looking at some of the manga panels, but they honestly don't do the series justice. The fights are visceral, brutal, and full of motion, heads flying, environments shifting, and battles taking place across multiple locations. Hokusano has stated he's heavily inspired by series like Naruto, John Wick, and Christopher Nolan films, and once you know that, you can absolutely see it in how mind-bending and cinematic the action sequences get. Kagurabachi is an absolute must-read if you're a shonen fan. Between this and Ichi the Witch, they've quickly risen to the top of Shonen Jump, right alongside One Piece. Moving to something a little bit more lighthearted, They Are Still Being Shaken This Morning by Eiji Masuda is a sweet rom-com with a heavy emphasis on comedy. The entire story revolves around a morning train ride where 2 high school students who don't know each other at all slowly develop a crush on one another. All the while, 3 other passengers secretly root for them from the sidelines, hoping they finally get together. The story focuses on their budding romance and the unusual connections they form during their commute, while the passengers essentially watching their relationship bloom in real time. And let me just say, I haven't laughed this hard at a manga in a long time. This is easily one of the funniest series I've read this year. What could have been a simple tale of 2 awkward teens trying to interact, complete with all the usual miscommunications, becomes something truly special thanks to the hysterical reaction commentary from the 3 passengers, office lady, manager, and uni student. They communicate through messages during the commute, and their play-by-play reactions elevate the comedy to another level. Their expressions, often off-model, uncanny, and borderline disturbing, are so over the top and unexpected that you can't help but laugh out loud. It's the kind of comedy where the exaggeration is the punchline, and it absolutely works. Our 2 main leads perfectly capture that painfully awkward teenage crush energy. The hesitation, the overthinking, the misreads, the miscommunication that makes you want to tear your hair out. And the frustration makes the passengers' reactions even more relatable and hilarious because they're basically the voice of the audience. You'd think a story centered entirely on catching the same train every morning would get repetitive, but the author keeps things fresh by introducing new characters, strange encounters, and generally pushing the relationship forward. The latest chapters have had some really strong progression, and it feels very rewarding to follow. The first volume of this comes out in around March of next year by 7 Seas, so if you're looking for a genuinely good laugh, you won't find a better new read than this one. I think most people have picked up this series this year, and for good reason. Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You by Junichi originally began publishing in 2022, but it's gained a huge amount of momentum recently, especially with an anime adaptation announced for 2026. The series is a slice-of-life rom-com that follows Sasuke, a middle-aged businessman working a demanding job who's constantly exhausted and worn down. His one small joy each day is visiting his favourite supermarket and being greeted by the cheerful checkout lady, Yamada, whose bright personality never fails to lift his spirits. Things take a turn when Sasuke steps out for a smoke one evening and is approached by another employee behind the supermarket, Tayama, who invites him to join her. This sparks an unlikely friendship between the two, with the age gap difference leading to some generally charming interactions. What Sasuke doesn't realize though is Tayama is actually Yamada, just in her real off-the-clock appearance, and Yamada has a lot of fun keeping that secret and teasing him about it. This is another lighthearted series where you watch two characters slowly get to know each other through playful banter and surprisingly heartfelt moments. I think a lot of us can relate to that drained, end-of-the-week feeling, and sometimes all you need is a quiet moment with someone who understands you. This series captures that perfectly. The nighttime setting gives the manga such a cozy, comforting atmosphere, and even though most of the scenes take place in the same general area, the art has plenty of room to shine through expressive character designs and reactions. When I first started this series, I wasn't expecting many emotional moments, but as it's gone on, it's delivered some really touching character writing. Themes like being true to yourself and opening up to others, and how a small act of kindness can change someone's day or even their life, are handled with a lot of sincerity. If you're looking for something slower paced but full of humour and heart, this is an excellent pickup. With 5 volumes already out, now is the perfect time to jump in. This next series is fairly new, with only 6 chapters out as of writing this, but following my ongoing trend of loving witches and fantasy, this new dark shonen has already grabbed my attention, and that series is Witchriv. Created by Hikari on Manga Plus, the story follows Nonna, a young witch forced to live in plain sight among humans. She must hide her identity as a mage, as any mage discovered is immediately captured and sent to an imprisonment camp, and most likely killed. Nonna spends her days sewing and hanging out with her friend Lovi, but after she secretly uses magic to fix Lovi's glasses, it catches the attention of the Bureau of Magic Surveillance. After some legitimately dark and tense moments, Nonna attempts to flee with her mother, but the two are separated and Nonna is captured. With the unexpected help of fellow prisoner Mira, which is a bit of a mouthful to say, the two manage to escape. Now they're on the run, trying to survive and avoid capture, and search for their missing family members. You can clearly see some real-world inspirations behind the story, especially with its European style and setting and persecution themes, but for me, the concept itself is incredibly strong. Unlike Ichi the Witch, where magic is powerful and respected, Witchriv presents a world where magic is feared, suppressed, and violently controlled. It creates a perfect environment for some really compelling character arcs, not just for Nonna and Mira, but potentially for the world at large. I can definitely see the series exploring themes of art, individuality, and self-expression in some really meaningful ways. The artwork so far has been sharp and striking, with strong character designs and a willingness to show the brutality of this world without hesitation. It's still early days, but I'm already hooked and really excited to see where this series goes. Another series that completely caught me by surprise this year was Akane-Banashi. I mentioned in a previous video that I'd never heard of Rakugo before picking up this series, but after hearing so many people talk about it, I decided to jump in blind, and I'm so glad that I did. This has been one of the most refreshing reads of this year, offering a glimpse into a side of Japanese culture that many of us might not be familiar with. Even though I already shared my initial thoughts in an earlier video, the story has only gotten better since then. I still get excited every time a new tournament is announced or when a new character steps up to perform their own interpretation of Rakugo. It keeps the series constantly fresh because no two performers approach it in the same way, and watching those differences in delivery, tone, and emotion is generally fascinating. If you're looking for a series with fantastic artwork and a compelling, unique premise, and a cast full of memorable characters, then please give Akane-Banashi a read. It's been a standout this year, and I'll definitely keep collecting this one. There must have been something in the water at Tatsuki Fujimoto's team, because almost every one of his assistants has gone into a great amazing series, from Dun Da Dun to Spy Family to Hell's Paradise, and now we can add a new one to the list, Centuria. Centuria opens with a gripping and brutally memorable first chapter. We follow Julian, a stowaway aboard a slave ship, who forms a mother-son bond with a pregnant woman named Mira. Seriously, what is with these dark fantasies the name Mira? After the 100 slaves aboard are slaughtered as a twisted insurance policy, a demonic entity rises from the sea and offers Julian the combined power of those 100 lost lives, including Mira, who sacrifices herself so her daughter Diana can be born. With this newfound strength, Julian sets out to protect Diana, confront demonic creatures and hostile humans, and build the kind of family he never had. The premise of 100 lives is incredible, and the series really leans into the emotional weight of that ability. Early on, Julian hesitates to fight because he feels like every blow he takes costs another life. Watching him grow, not just in power, but in confidence, resilience, and trust is one of the most compelling parts of the story. And seeing him figure out how to be a brother and a guardian to Diana adds a touching layer of vulnerability to an otherwise brutal world. As a dark fantasy, the action is fantastic. Dynamic angles, heavy impacts, and a real sense of force behind Julian's strength. You feel every hit. Kuramori's art style is also a standout. Clean but thick lined with deep hatching and heavy shadows, it gives the world this eerie storybook gone wrong feeling. Characters' faces almost glow against the darkness, drawing your attention to their expressions, especially their eyes. Visually, it feels like a blend of Vinland Saga's realism with the oppressive tone of Berserk or The Witcher. The monster designs lean into an eldritch horror with twisted, otherworldly forms that never let you feel comfortable. I could talk about the art all day, but to keep it simple, if you're a fan of dark fantasy, Centuria is absolutely one to watch. The atmosphere, the emotion, the world building, everything lands. Volume 1 is due to come out in around February of 2026, and I'll definitely be grabbing it the moment this hits the shelf. I won't spend too long talking about One Piece, but I do want to say this, that it has been an absolutely incredible year for the series. We've finally kicked off the Elbaf arc, which has been something teased all the way back in Little Garden, and we've had some fantastic character reveals, including Loki and a bunch of returning faces we haven't seen in over a decade. And to top it all off, we've gotten one of the best and arguably one of the longest how is Loki telling the story in 3 minutes? Flashback arcs yet. We're talking the Rocks Pirates, the God Valley incident, origins for Shanks and Dragon, and so much more. You can really feel the momentum now as Oda starts answering long-held mysteries as the story barrels towards its finale. Honestly, there's never been a better time to get into One Piece. The anime is about to wrap up Egghead, and it has been absolutely phenomenal. And similar to what I said about Naruto, if you've ever been put off by the length, or maybe you tried the anime and it just didn't click, I generally recommend reading the manga from the beginning. You can go at your own pace, there's no filler to deal with, and none of the early series censorship. With box sets, 3-in-1 editions, and even the live action series as a gateway, there are plenty of great entry points to get into this world. The final series I wanted to talk about is Trigun. I know it's an older series, but after finally sitting down and watching Trigun Stampede earlier this year, it ticked all the right boxes for me. Space, western vibes, a harsh environment, bounty hunters, and a protagonist going up against all odds while sticking to his morals. Trigun, created by Yasuhiro Naitao, is a series where you can really tell he poured everything into it. The world and its history are incredibly well developed, and everything makes sense in terms of how it survives. From the designs of the towns to the clothing of the scavenger-like inhabitants, it all feels grounded and authentic. You can see the care Naitao put into every detail, and it really shows. What I love most about Trigun is how every character challenges Vash to confront his ideals and his pacifist nature. He understands the destruction he can cause if he uses his strength recklessly. The path Vash walks is far from easy, and it leaves him scarred and permanently effective, but the payoff is visible in how he impacts the people around him and slowly influences the wider world. If you're ever in the mood to pick up an older series and appreciate the 90s art style, I highly recommend giving Trigun a read, or even checking out both anime adaptations. And with the final season of Trigun Stampede set for next year, I'm really excited to see how all the stories conclude. So there's a look at all the series I really connected with this year. I had plenty of others as well, from Hematen to Gachakuta to continuing my slow descent into hell with Rent a Girlfriend. What was chapter 404? Oh god. But 2025 has been an amazing year for manga and anime, so here's to another great year in 2026. So thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.